Hola y buenos días. Yo soy el señor Morris. Soy el maestro de español. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Today, we'll have a number dictation activity and review the things that a plant needs to grow. Then we'll talk about some of the plants that we eat. If we have some time, we'll make guacamole. But let's get started with our opening song. Canten conmigo. Hola, hola, buenos días, bienvenidos, ¿cómo están? Todos juntos ya estamos listos para aprender. Muy bien cantado. Now, since we'll be having a number dictation activity for our first thing today, I thought it might be a good idea to review the numbers with this video. Ahora, presten atención y repitan todos. Números. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Doscientos, 300, 400, 500, 1000. Muy bien. Ahora saquen papel, and you can use some scratch paper or your Spanish notebooks, y lápiz o pluma para escribir estos números. Ready? I'll start off with a pretty easy one. 10. 10. Pretty easy, huh? Did you all get this number? 10. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Well, let's try another one. How about 23? 23. 23. Can you hear the parts of that? Did you write down this number? 23. Did you hear the two parts? 23. Okay, let's try another one. This one's going to be a little bit longer. 443. 486. Okay? 486. ¿Get it? Let's see. Did you write down 486? 486. Did you get that? Well, let's try one more if you're doing so well. Okay. Now listen carefully the first time, and I'll say it more than once. Listen the first time. 1795. Did you hear it? Okay, now write it down. 1795. You think you got it? 1795. Here you go. Did you get this one? There it is. 1795. That one was a little bit longer. Now remember that you can do the same type of activity in your room to fill in the idle moments and review the numbers in Spanish if you wish. Another thing that you might want to review is what plants need to grow. And you can start with this question. ¿Qué necesitan las plantas para crecer? And we'll go ahead and look at that right now. ¿Qué necesitan las plantas para crecer? All of these things. Do you remember what they are? What was this one called? El sol. El sol. How about this? What do we put on plants? El agua. El agua. That's right. And it might be rain, or we might have to take the hose out. Oh, they need this, and it's a part of the air. It's a part of the air. Do you remember what it's called? This one's kind of tougher, isn't it? Dióxido de carbono. Dióxido de carbono. And of course, they need something to grow in, and that's the dirt there. Do you remember what that's called? La tierra. La tierra. Well, now that we know what a plant needs to live, what do we need to live? Raise your hand and tell your teacher. Raise your hand and tell your teacher. Teacher, if you want to put me on hold while you talk about what people need to live, that's fine. Okay, well, some of the things I thought of are we need food and shelter and air and water. We need somebody to love us. That's right. Well, some of the foods that we need to live come from plants. What are some of the foods that we get from plants? Again, raise your hand and tell your teacher some of the foods that come from plants. Well, there are obviously so many that we can't learn all of them here today. So I thought we could start by just talking about a certain class of foods, okay? Estas son las frutas. Las frutas, and you can see that that's a cognate. Frutas. What do you think those are? Fruits. Well, let's look at some of the individual fruits that we can eat. Okay. Now this one here is called la manzana. La manzana is roja. It is, isn't it? But they come in other colors too. They can be amarilla or verde. They can be a bunch of different colors. Esta fruta es la naranja. And remember I told you that the color comes from this same word. Es anaranjada. Anaranjada. La naranja. Another one that I like to eat in the mornings on my cereal is this one. Se llama el plátano. El plátano. And I like to cut these up and put them on my cereal. They're really good. Yeah. Sometimes that one's even called banana. Hey, that would make it pretty easy to remember. But if you say plátano, they'll know what you're talking about. Another one that I like to eat a lot, or even make juice out of, son las uvas. Las uvas. Go ahead and jot these down into your notebooks, okay? Las uvas. They make really good juice, too, and jelly. Now, another one that you might not think of when we talk about fruits is this. El tomate. Y el tomate, it's really good in ensaladas, salads, or on sandwiches, or on hamburgers. El tomate. As a matter of fact, the word tomate comes from the Nahuatl word, tomatl. And there's one more that you might not be familiar with. That's this one. It's called el aguacate. El aguacate. Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever had those. If you haven't, you might want to try them because they're really tasty. I think you'd really enjoy it if you tried it. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and look at our activity sheet for today called ¿Qué alimentos obtenemos de las plantas? Okay, ¿Qué alimentos? What foods do we obtain from the plants? Well, here we go. I'm going to write my name up at the top, Roberto. And it says, unscramble the vocabulary words and then draw a line to the illustration of that word. Well, let's see. This one says suave, suave. Does anybody remember? If you jotted down, you'd probably recognize that this is uvas, uvas. So what you're going to do is go ahead and write the word from the vocabulary lesson, and then once you get it unscrambled, draw a line from the word right down to the picture of that food. Y aquí están las uvas. Now, if you took notes, that'll probably make it pretty easy for you to figure those out, and you can get all of those. Well, you know what? I'm a real eater. I love to eat all sorts of foods, but some of my favorite foods are fruits. I like to eat a lot of the fruits just like they are, like manzanas or plátanos. But some of the other fruits can be combined to make really good foods. For example, we can make a food called guacamole. Yeah, and if you've never had it before, you might want to try it, okay? It's really good. Now, I've gotten together all of the things that I'm going to need to make my guacamole with, and let's go ahead and go over those first, okay? What we're going to need to get are, well, the main thing is, of course, we're going to need avocados, right? We're going to need avocados, we're going to need some tomatoes, and both of those are frutas, right? Okay, you're going to need some lime. We're going to need some onions, if you want to put those in there. This is cilantro. Cilantro is called coriander. And we have some garlic. And if you want to, you can even put some jalapeno into yours. Okay? Now, if you have one and you want to use it, you can get one of these things called a molcajete. And you can put it into there and grind up your guacamole in your molcajete. But this molcajete is kind of small because I'm going to make pretty much guacamole today. So let me go ahead and get out my mixing bowl and my implements for cooking. And let's get started with this. Okay. The first thing that you'll want to do is get your avocados. And I found a pretty easy way of getting avocados, getting the seeds out. If you cut it along like this, cut it down the center, then you can twist it and you'll get the seed in one half. Now, remember, if you guys are doing this, I'd like you to do it with a parent or an adult or something, because you're using a knife and that's a little bit dangerous. Okay, so I want you guys to be safe and careful. Now, if you can get the knife into the seed and twist it, it'll lift right out like that. Okay? And once you've gotten the seed out, you can take a spoon and scoop out the avocado. It comes out real easily. Okay? Go ahead and scoop this one out too. Now you'll probably want to put about 2 avocados in to make sure that you make a pretty good amount of the guacamole. Now the next thing you'll want to do is get one small tomato and cut it up, okay? I went ahead and cut mine up already just for expediency's sake, and I'm going to add that now. Okay, you're going to want to add about 1 clove of garlic, which again I've cut up, and I'm going to dump my garlic in. Okay, now remember that spice I told you about, the leaf? Okay, that's cilantro or coriander. Okay, and it just depends on how much you like. I really like the flavor of coriander. And used to be you probably couldn't get coriander everywhere, but now you can. Okay, then you want to add your onions, and you can use any kind of onions you want. I've gotten the green onions that I cut up. And then you want to add the juice of 1 lime. So take your lime and cut it up and just squeeze it into there. Okay. Ooh. If you guys are making this in your glass, you know it's really smelling good now. You want to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Okay, I don't generally go for a lot of salt or pepper, but I'm going to put some in there just to kind of give it a little bit of flavor. And the last thing you'll want to add is jalapeno. Now the jalapenos are hot, so you be careful with these. You might want to start without any and add a little bit later, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put in my jalapeno. Now I like jalapeno a lot, so I'm putting quite a bit in there. Once you get everything in together, go ahead and take a masher, or as I said, if you have a molcajete, you can use that and mash it up. Okay. You guys can see the avocado has a tendency to kind of mash up, and it'll make a sauce. Now, once you've finished and gotten it all mashed up, you can take it and serve it in a bowl. If you don't eat it all out of your mixing bowl first, I'm going to put mine into one of my ceramic bowls that I got down in Mexico. Okay, there you go. Now you can be creative and decorate it if you'd like. Maybe you can scare people off by putting a jalapeno in it. So there you go. Once you have it all finished, you can serve it with chips, totopos, and you can get these in the store, any kind are pretty good. All you have to do is take a chip. And it's really good. Now, don't forget from our first unit what we say when someone is eating. Buen provecho. The recipe for this guacamole is in your teacher's guide and in the student resource notebooks. So, if you don't get a chance to try any today, you can make it later or take the recipe home to make there. Okay? Well, today we reviewed what plants need to live. And then we talked about some of the foods that we need to live, and we even made some guacamole. Next class, we'll look at some of the other plants that we eat. Next class, we'll talk about vegetables. Pero saben que ya es hora de despedirnos. For our goodbye song today, let's sing La Cucaracha. Todas las muchachas tienen en los ojos 2 estrellas, pero las mexicanitas de seguro son más bellas. La cucaracha, ya no quiere caminar, porque no tiene, porque le falta dinero para gastar. Until next class, adiós y hasta luego.